Hi everyone, this is Von1926 here. This is going to be my entry to MP14 Anime's anime giveaway contest. I've been thinking for a while what I wanted to do, and I was looking through my collection, and I decided that I was going to do a video about 5 titles from my collection that I find to be underrated, that don't get enough love for just how awesome they really are. These are anime I would recommend to anyone, so I figured, hey, if I'm going to do a video, maybe I'll give you all something to watch if you haven't seen these before. I would highly recommend them. It just so happens that they're all Funimation titles, a part of the Funimation Save Line edition, so they're cheap. I mean, nothing too expensive. I think the most you'll pay for any of these one titles would be about $25. These are not in any special order, just about which order I go in. First up, we have the series Shuffle. It's basically a harem type anime that was based off a visual novel, I believe. It's basically about this guy named Reen, I believe his name was, who was one day visited by the King of the Gods and the King of the Demons, who each have a daughter, and he can decide who he wants to marry. If he marries the demon princess, he becomes King of the Demons. Marries the God princess, he becomes King of the Gods. It's a pretty funny series. Unlike most harems, the main character actually makes a choice about who he wants to be with. But I'm not going to spoil that for you, because that's part of the fun of this series. I will warn you though that this series does take a few sharp, dark turns that you would never have expected. So going in there, keep that in mind. It is hilarious though. I'd recommend watching the English dub. Vic Mignogna and Travis Willingham play the King of the Demons and the King of the Gods respectively, which I just find funny because well, you know, they played Roy Mustang and Edward Elric, so it's just a different dynamic, but it's pretty funny. Like I said, Shuffle has a grand total of 24 episodes, so it's not that bad. You could probably watch in a couple sittings. So yeah, recommend Shuffle first up. Next up is the series Mushi-shi, also by Funimation, part of their Save Line edition. I picked this up for like 15 bucks. I mean, I don't think it's much more than that. It is 26 episodes long. As you can see, the artwork is really nice. That's just how, like, the series has this mysterious vibe to it. It's about a Mushi master named Ginkgo. Mushi masters are people who can see these creatures called Mushi. Not everyone can see them, and it's basically a episodic series with a little bit of connection between episodes, but it's about Ginkgo. He's the main character, voiced by Travis Willingham, and he goes around and solves supernatural cases involving Mushi. This is one of my all-time favorite series. It's just so mysterious and beautiful, and you really enjoy the opening theme. It's sung in English, and it just has this. It just sets the tone off for the series very well. I actually recommend this to anybody, even if they don't like anime. I think they like this. It'd probably turn them on to it. So if you haven't checked it out, go ahead. It's a really good series, well worth it. Next, we have the series Solty Rei, also by Funimation. Now, this happens to be the box set that was released before they put it on Save Line. So when you buy it now, it's probably not going to look like this. I believe they just repackaged the Viridian collection, which would be, it'd be in like a case like this, thin. But yeah, Solty Rei is basically about a guy named Roy Revant, voiced by Christopher Sabat. You may know him as Vegeta. I believe this is one of his best roles. I mean, I really enjoyed it. But basically, it's about this guy named Roy Revant who lost his daughter in something called the Blast Fall, like 14, 15 years ago. And it basically destroyed him. I mean, he's basically an alcoholic bounty hunter now. And one day, this girl named Solty, serious girl, drops into his life, and he starts to take care of her. He adopts her as his adoptive daughter. And basically, the series is about Solty's past and Roy trying to find his daughter, who he still believes might be alive. Along the way, they'll meet a girl named Rose, who will move in with them. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I would highly recommend Solty Rei. It has a sci-fi feel to it. It is a sci-fi series, really. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Highly recommend it. I believe it's 24 episodes. Yeah. As you can see, here's some screenshots. Here's the description if you want to try and read it. But yeah, I recommend Solty Rei. Now these next two series rank both in my top 10. They were instant favorites of mine once I watched the series. It's the Count of Monte Cristo, Kutsuyo, and Romeo and Juliet. Both are, as you know, based off of what some consider some of the best stories ever written. The Count of Monte Cristo obviously based off the novel, The Count of Monte Cristo, written by Alexander Dumas. That's one of my all-time favorite novels. And obviously Romeo and Juliet, you know, is written by Shakespeare, one of the best writers ever. Both take like a sort of fantasy, sci-fi twist. It's not exactly like either of those stories, but I find that good because you can't measure up to those stories. They're masterpieces. So I like that they took a different road with them, but they are based off of them and you'll enjoy them. First is The Count of Monte Cristo, Kutsuyo. For those of you who don't know anything about the series or the novels, it's basically about a guy named Edmond Dantes who was betrayed by his friends on the eve of his wedding. He was sent to his prison and he comes back with immense wealth and fortune, and he's now known as the Count of Monte Cristo. And he seeks to take revenge against his friends who wronged him. And it's widely considered, the novel anyway, one of the greatest stories of revenge ever told. I'd have to agree. My god, that book was awesome. The series itself is beautiful. The artwork is just fantastic. I recommend the dub over the subs. Oh, sorry, I just do. Here's a few screenshots. Like I said, I believe the series is about 24 episodes long. Could be done in a few sittings. The opening theme, We Were Lovers, also sung in English, really sets the tone for the series. You can look it up, just type the Kutsuyo opening theme and it should come up. It should also give you an idea of the artwork of the series. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the artwork on the individual slipcases. That's obviously the Count of Monte Cristo, and that's his like girlfriend or something, someone he takes care of. It just depends on your interpretation. I think the novel and this series differ on that point, but that's just because the ending is way different. I really like the discs in this. As you can see, like, the artwork's pretty damn awesome. That's our main character, well, secondary main character, Albert de Morcerf. He's the son of one of the people who betrayed the Count of Monte Cristo. Their relationship in the series, Count and Albert, is pretty unique. You'll just have to watch it, but I highly recommend it. Look, it's like beautiful artwork. I know that looks wrong, but trust me, nothing kinky goes on between them. The Count of Monte Cristo is just very manipulative, and I think this picture kind of showcases that. Like, he has this hold on Albert, and he manipulates him to try and get his revenge on his father. So, but yeah, I recommend The Count of Monte Cristo, Kutsuyo. Watch the dub. Up next is Romeo and Juliet, The Complete Tragedy. Unfortunately, you can only get the Save Edition line of this now. I don't believe you can actually buy this box set anymore, which is a shame because it's great artwork. Like I said, like everyone pretty much knows, Romeo and Juliet is one of the most famous love stories ever told, written by William Shakespeare. The series is not exactly like the play, obviously. Very many differences it has. But like the key balcony scene is still there, and the meeting at the masquerade ball, just a lot of the good stuff still there. It's very enjoyable. The music in this series is fantastic. They use the You Raise Me Up for the opening theme in Japanese, and then it's inserted into the series at certain points, sung in English, which is a nice touch, I believe, you know. But like I said, the ending is very different, though I'm gonna warn you right now, they still die. That's not a spoiler. It's just the way it is. This is Shakespeare. It's a tragedy for a reason. It's not gonna end happy. I know you would want it to. I did too. This ending is very sad, but they just die in different ways, but it's still very touching. But basically, since everyone knows the story of Romeo and Juliet, I'll just tell you like how this one is different for the anime. It takes place still in Verona, but it's a place called Neo Verona. And Romeo's father, Lord Montague, obviously, killed Juliet's father, who was sort of like the king of Neo Verona, so he could take the crown. And he killed her father, her mother, all her brothers. She was the only one who escaped with the help of Conrad, the captain of her father's guard. And ever since, for 14 years, they've been hiding, waiting for their chance to take revenge on Montague and reclaim the throne. Juliet, who has to masquerade as a boy ever since then to avoid detection, also is like sort of a vigilante called the Red Whirlwind in Neo Verona. She goes around like righting wrongs that the King's Guard, the Carabinieri, do. And on one of these days, she meets Romeo, because he saves her from falling to her death on his like flying dragon horse. And that's where they first meet. But later she attends the Rose Ball, a celebration held at the palace, and that is where she meets him as a girl, because she's dressed as a girl in disguise, because it's like a masquerade ball, obviously. And basically they fall in love at first sight. But the thing is, Juliet later learns of her heritage that she didn't know, and she vows to destroy Montague. But the thing is, Romeo is Montague's son, and she is Capulet's son. So Romeo's father wants her dead. I mean, that's very similar to the play. I mean, not the dead part, but the families hate each other, obviously. I really like their names. I don't remember that they had middle names, but in this series, Romeo is Romeo Candore de Montague, and Juliet is Juliet Theamata Ars de Capulet. Pretty weird, awesome names, but yeah. Basically, the series really takes a sort of sci-fi twist around episode 9, but it's still a very enjoyable ride. Very touching, one of my favorite animes. I would recommend it to anyone. It's beautiful. I mean, I have to tell you though, you have to watch the dub. Don't watch the subs. Nothing against the subs, but the dialogue is just bland and boring. And considering this is based off Shakespeare, that's just a free license to have the most colorful language ever, full of metaphors and just basically anything you want. Subtitled version, which means obviously the original Japanese version too, just has very boring language. It's very modern. It's not, they don't even really try to get any of the quotes from Shakespeare. They just don't. You also, one of the things I like about the series is that William Shakespeare himself is a character in the series. And you also see other characters from some of his various other plays, like Ophelia and Hermione and stuff like that. They're all mixed together. But I still enjoyed it. Some people complain about that, but it's not an exact adaptation. It's just based off Romeo and Juliet. It is 24 episodes long. Look at that, the artwork's beautiful on this. I'll give you a shot of the screen. There's Juliet, Romeo, Romeo again. It's Romeo and Juliet, the complete tragedy. I really like the artwork here. There's Lady Hermione. And there's Tybalt. I won't spoil like his involvement, but he's pretty badass. Oh, I hate when that happens. There you have Romeo. Here, like, see the art, it's just beautiful. And that's the Red Whirlwind, Juliet's alter ego, vigilante type thing. And that's one of her guards, and that's another one of her guards, the blonde guy. So yeah, that's going to be my entry to your anime giveaway contest. I hope that you all, MP14 anime, might see this and maybe pick up one of these series. In particular, I highly recommend the Count of Monte Cristo or Romeo and Juliet. That's just me. I mean, to anyone else watching, I highly recommend these series to you as well. Watch the dub of those two. Just do it. You'll thank yourself. You really will. In the description section below, I'll include trailers to each of these series: The Count of Monte Cristo, Genkusuyo, Romeo and Juliet, Solty Rei, Shuffle, and Mushi-shi. So you can check out what they're about. I'll also include links to where you can buy them cheap on Right Stuff, for those of you who don't know what that is. I just wanted to say that I really like MP14 Anime's channel. I enjoy your videos, so I'm looking forward to seeing more from you guys. To everyone who's watching, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when my next video is put up.